Mix it up. Student athletes from Virginia, Ty Jerome and Kyle Guy. We'll start with questions on the right side, second row.
Both of you guys can take a shot at answering this. You guys are pretty aware of some of the guys who've come before you in the UVA program and what they've accomplished and been able to do. In terms of your group, if you're able to have a deep run in this tournament, what do you think that would be for your legacy, and where do you think you guys would kind of fit in?
Ty first, and then Kyle.
Yeah, just to be in the same boat or be able to be mentioned with those guys is a huge honor, and we're extremely thankful for that. All the wins we've been able to achieve, but we're not really worried about entertaining that right now. For us, it's just about trying to do everything we can for our team. We just want to play with this group more and more, and we have to win to be able to do that. You know, we just want to win for us and coaches and Coach Bennett, really.
Yeah, we can come back to that conversation when our careers are over. You know, we got more important things on our mind right now. Like Ty said, to be mentioned with, you know, Malk, Joe Harris, and guys that are, you know, excelling in the league, and guys that are making money professionally or whatever they're doing is, you know, truly an honor. So,
front row on the right side.
This is for Ty, and I'm sorry to embarrass you, Kyle, but it's asking Ty to talk about you. The other day, Kyle said that he invited himself to your house for when you were in high school for the All-Star game, that you said he started following you on social media. Kyle seems to be sort of a unique guy in a lot of ways. He helped a guy up yesterday. He'll congratulate people on the other team if they beat you guys. Have you met many guys like him, and what's it like to have him as a friend?
Well, first of all, we're teammates, not friends. We're just strictly teammates. All right, it stops there. No. Yeah, he's really unique, and you know, one of the best things about him is how confident he is in his own skin. So he's not really worried about other people's opinions. He's really confident. He can annoy you a lot, but honestly, he doesn't care really. So he's super confident on and off the court. He's funny. He's fun to be around. So he's just a really unique person, like you said, and it's fun to be around somebody who isn't worried about the outside world.
Front row on the left.
Doug Daddy from the Roanoke Times. Kyle, how much college basketball do you watch on television during the season? How well do you know teams at Oklahoma's level?
Yeah, we're definitely a basketball junkie group. We watch basketball together all the time. It's kind of how we, you know, bond off the court, playing cards and watching basketball is what we do. We've got a chance to watch Oklahoma in the Battle for Atlantis, obviously, because they were there. And we've watched teams from all over, so we know that they're a good team, and looking forward to playing them.
On the left.
Kyle, Jeffrey Collins from the Associated Press. With a night to sleep on it, is it a relief to have finally got that first round out of the way? And, I mean, do you still have that pressure on you from the fact that with all the high seeds Virginia's had in the last several years, they haven't made it to a Final Four?
Yeah, I would say that, you know, the outside world is always going to try to put pressure on you, and, you know, sometimes you can find yourself putting pressure on yourself. But we're just trying to have, you know, Coach was referencing the Friday Night Lights, clear eyes, full heart. So just trying to focus on what's important. And, you know, we got out of the first round my freshman year. So last year we weren't as fortunate, and this year, you know, we got the job done. So just looking forward to playing Oklahoma.
Front right.
Kyle, I know you've mentored Kihei a little bit this year. Was what he was able to do yesterday on defense, like chasing after loose balls, getting rebounds and steals, sort of a good example of the value he brings to you guys? Yeah,
he may not be, you know, scoring the most points every night, but he's a very valuable player on this team. And, you know, the little things he does is kind of Isaiah Wilkins-esque. Obviously, he's not as big as anybody on the court, but he does some things that, you know, picking up full court for 33 games now, I mean, obviously you don't see me doing that. So he's a selfless player, and he doesn't care about stats, and he does a lot of the little things that help us win.
The right side, in the middle.
For both you guys, going back to some of those players who've come before you, was there anybody early in your career or now that you stay in touch with who's had a big influence on you in terms of the guys who came before?
Start with Ty.
Yeah, I stay in touch with everybody that we've played with, even the guys that transferred, like Mariel, DT, Darius Thompson. So I stay in touch with everyone, really. You know, I still speak to Devin almost every day. I speak to London all the time, so Isaiah all the time. So we have a great relationship with all those guys who've left, and then even the guys that we haven't played with, like Malcolm and Joe and Justin. I've spent weekends with them too. So our alumni base, basically everyone reaching back and wanting to see all of us succeed is great.
Yeah, that's one of the special things about this program is how all the former players really just buy into this program and want to give back and come back and hang out with us and, mentor us in any ways they can. And we're all open ears for that kind of stuff whenever. Sometimes we don't listen to Justin Anderson very much, but all the other players. No, I'm kidding. Because he's got experience and he's obviously in the league doing just fine. So, that's a brotherhood that this, university and program has, and, we're thankful for that.
The question was, what kind of mentorship and advice do they give you?
Before the tournament, Malcolm texted me. He said, just don't put too much pressure on yourself. Continue to lead the group and just be yourself and trust your work. And then after the game, he texted me, good job. He said, good job. Now go make it through the weekend. And really just little things like that where he didn't have to text me. Like, he's going through his own rehab process right now. And for him to be worried about or be concerned with what we're doing, it just shows how selfless he is, and shows what great group of guys have come through here.
Yeah, for me, I talk to Isaiah a lot, and he's just a fun-loving guy as you know him, and he's all about take care of your business, but remember to have fun in it. So that's what he told me leading into this tournament.
Back right corner.
Dean Blevins, News 9 Sports. Oklahoma prefers a fast pace. I just wondered if you guys prefer a pace, and secondly, they've been getting good performances from Doolittle, and just wondered about your thoughts on the inside. They got a lot of paint points yesterday.
Ty first.
Yeah, they probably want to play a little faster than us. We're really about getting the best shot, and we want to keep teams out of transition. So sometimes the game will be slower if we have preference. And I think Doolittle has been playing great. He had a really good game yesterday, or 2 days ago, yesterday. So we'll have to put different matchups on him, throw different coverages at him. And they're also really balanced, too, so it's not just him.
Yeah, we already watched some film on them, and we're going to watch more tonight. So, we don't know exactly what we're going to do, but we know that they do have a balanced offensive scoring attack. I think 4 guys had more than 17 yesterday, I believe. And, they do want to get up and down, and, we're fine with that. We try to keep teams out of transition, and then we take what the defense gives us. So whether that's a fast break points or a quick shot or, a late shot, clock shot, whatever is the best shot is what we're going to take.
Front here on the left.
Yeah, Ty, how much of a benefit was it, if it was a benefit, to be challenged the way that you were for a half yesterday?
Yeah, not necessarily about benefit or non-benefit. It's just you're in a tournament, so every team is good. You're playing a 16 seed. The game shouldn't be close. That whole stigma is kind of nonsense because every team is good. They won their conference tournament. They came out playing at a high level, so we had to respond, and now it's kind of just move on. You survive in advance, and you focus on the next team.
Front right.
Paul Woody, Richmond Times-Dispatch. This is for Kyle. You were talking yesterday that you're very competitive on the court, but that isn't going to make you forget how you were raised. Could you talk for a moment, if you don't mind, about how you were raised?
Yeah, I have a unique family setup. So I have 2 step-parents and obviously 2 biological parents, and they're all best friends, which is something that you don't see. My stepdad and dad go on, road trips with me when I was in the recruiting process. They drive down to games together. So that in itself is, obviously they butt heads because, that's just how life is. But they, keep that away from me because they want what's best for me. And that's, I owe them a lot for that. And then I have 5 siblings, which is why I wear the number 5. And we were just raised to be good people, be kind to everyone, no judgment, no discrimination. So that's just kind of how I've always been and how I want to try to continue to be.
And the back row on the left.
Joe Bettner, Norman Transcript. Kyle, you mentioned seeing OU in the Bahamas, and I'm wondering if you had an impression of them back then, and how much of a challenge do they present to you all?
Yeah, they're a big physical athletic team, which, against anybody can impose their will. I think they've really found their rhythm now as compared to in Battle for Atlantis, but then again, we weren't playing at our highest level either then. So it was early in the season, and, they've grown and gotten a lot better. So I think it'll be a great game.
Any additional questions for the student athletes? Left side.
Ty, Kihei said that he tries to pick your brain every chance he gets and absorb the knowledge that you have. What have you seen that's how far he's come, and what improvements do you think he's made this year?
I think the biggest thing for him is that he's grown on just understanding the value of every possession. So he always had that work ethic, that competitiveness, that drive, from day one. But I think he was a little sloppy with the ball at certain times when he came in, just because everyone is when they come from high school. They're used to kind of just playing with a huge leash in high school. So I think he's grown so much from day one in that aspect. And I think his biggest asset to this team is his selflessness. He could care less how much he scores. He's just all about winning. We have certain plays where he'll bring the ball up, he'll play the point guard position on certain plays that don't involve ball screens, and then the plays that do involve ball screens, he'll ask me if I want the ball. So he's just super selfless. He's all about winning. He's all about the team. He'll give up his body for the team. And we have to tell him to be more aggressive too sometimes. So just a great teammate, a great ultra competitor.
On the right side.
Kyle, we've kind of joked about, what people are going to ask you guys once you get past that 116 game, but it was a relief for a lot of folks yesterday. Can you break down the dynamic? I mean, you're not going to be relaxed now. It's still the NCAA tournament, but still getting the quote-unquote monkey off your back and moving forward.
Yeah, I think, I think how we won yesterday is a huge testament of our growth from last year. Last year we were in the same situation and we panicked as an entire program, and this year we didn't, and we took care of business and got the job done. So, yeah, we can, breathe a little bit easier now, but at the same time it's NCAA tournament, so like you said, we're not relaxed. We're not content by any means. We're still have our foot on the gas and just, trying to go as far as we can.
Thank you, guys. The Virginia locker room will be open until 3 o'clock. Coach Bennett is expected to arrive at 2:40. Better run. Virginia head coach Tony Bennett. We'll start with questions on the front right.
That's good. You didn't make me do an open. There you go. Thank you.
Caught everybody off guard, unfortunately, yesterday. Paul Woody, Richmond Times-Dispatch. Tony, Kyle Guy seems to be sort of a different type of person. He's very happy. He's very accessible. I've seen him go out of his way to congratulate opponents who have beaten you guys, which is rare, of course. And yesterday he accidentally knocked down a Gardner-Webb player, went over and told him it wasn't intentional. You seem to have a pretty good relationship with him. What is it that makes him the way he is, and what is it that you find refreshing about him?
Yeah, no, I think, well, I've been fortunate to coach a lot of guys that are just strong character, and that comes from, I think how he's been brought up from his family, and he's a kind person, and, he enjoys the game. He has a love for the game and is lighthearted, and so I think that's a credit certainly to his family, and again, he just has always been that way, and he's a competitor, but yet enjoys it and understands, I think, the big picture in regards to that.
Front right.
Tony, I think it's fair to say maybe a portion of the fan base had maybe been down on Kihei at times this year because of his offensive production. Was what he was able to do yesterday defensively, chasing loose balls, getting rebounds and steals, sort of indicative of why he's continuing to be a big part of your rotation and starting?
Yeah, no, he's been so valuable, and you can't concern yourself with the opinion of others. He's helped us. He guards the ball hard. He scraps, and he's made some good offensive plays for us. Gives us a dimension that we haven't had in a long time. And again, you asked specifically defensively, and it's that when you play against certain kinds of teams that have elite quickness, and you can set your defense with good ball pressure, that's really important. And he's allowed us to do that. And then, again, offensively, he can touch the paint and made some really good plays and passes for us. So he's so competitive, and he brings that. And I think that is contagious when you watch that. When you're behind that and he's setting your defense and you're a player, I think that can be inspiring or get the guys going. Taking charges, he's done that over the course of the year.
Right side.
Tony, Mike Barber, Richmond Times-Dispatch. You've told us a few times this year that you've encouraged the guys to take joy in the pursuit of a championship. You've also told us in past years that your disappointment in losses stems from wanting your guys to win, wanting them to experience success. Final Four is the thing that they want. I'm curious how you strike a balance of finding joy in the pursuit of a championship versus any pressure you feel to get some players that you obviously care about as far as they can go.
Yeah, we talk. It was actually a quote in a book I read. The joy of competition and the fun in the pursuit of a championship. Let's talk about that can't define you in terms of who you are, but it's worth it to go after it for all you're worth. These guys have been gifted. All the players and teams in this tournament have such gifts, and it's a worthy goal to go after. Only one gets it, but I think you, as a coach, certainly you have goals and dreams for yourself. And when you spend as much time with these young men, getting to know them, going through the ups and the downs and the battles, it's just they're an extended part of your family, and you want to see it go well for them and the program. So I think it's just our theme this year was, is united pursuit. And that's, I think, a good way to kind of summarize what it's about. You're so united in everything through this pursuit. And, that means in success, and that also means in failure. And if, you can keep that balance, I think that helps. But it certainly, it's a great desire for everyone.
Left side.
Tony, you've taken some transfers at Virginia, and they've usually been players who were starters at their other schools. What do you tell them about playing time? Everybody wants to play. And also, for guys like Nigel and Braxton who are immediately eligible, how challenging is the pack line in your system in general to learn so quickly?
Yeah, I think when you come into a program that has been fortunate enough to have success, you just, you have to say, do you want to be a part of this? And you can't guarantee anything unless here's a spot, X amount of minutes, but that's so fluid. You just want guys that are willing to go get everything that they earn. And sometimes, they maybe earn less than they get, but will they be willing to be united, in the pursuit of what we're trying to do? And I think there is always a learning curve when you come from a different system. Now, I think the experience that transfers have is playing in this game, and they understand the physicality and the intensity. A guy like Braxton, who played in the SEC and had, played in an NCAA tournament game or two, that's invaluable. So, and he was, an important part in his, I think it was 12 minutes. Every game, as we've seen this year, sometimes it's more minutes, sometimes it's less. But he understood that when he became eligible this year, with DeAndre and some of the established guys there, it was going to be, and we talked about that, we'll plug you in where we can, and you'll get what you earn, and just keep plugging because he's an important part of this.
The left side.
Yeah, Barry Trammell with the Oklahoman. OU hasn't had the season it wanted until yesterday when they played really well. They're a senior-dominated team, 6, I think, play. Did you sense when you watched them play or through the video that those guys have a sense of urgency now that they're into the road? And in your experience, is that a factor, do you think, in the NCAA tournament?
Of course it is. I think, just playing high-level ball at the right time. We were in Atlanta in the early season tournament over Thanksgiving, and they were playing a little different now. They're playing real big. I think Doolittle was playing the 3 sometimes, and they have the talent. Coach Kruger is one of the best coaches there is. When I was at Wisconsin, he was in the Big Ten, and I've followed him and have a great amount of respect for him. But what he's done with last year's team was very good, in how he's taken this team and used the versatility as strengths in it, how it culminated yesterday and other games. It wasn't just yesterday, but was impressive. So to have experience, to have veterans, and sort of that end of the road or seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, there is certainly a sense of urgency. So they showed it at a high level yesterday, and they cause some or present problems matching up with them because they score in unique ways.
Front on the right.
Tony, Paul Woody, Richmond Times-Dispatch. You said a moment ago Kyle is lighthearted. Is he all business on the court and practice and everything, or do you sometimes have to remind him that this is a business type deal? And how did you find out about him, and how did you get him to come to UVA?
I think he enjoys. There's a joy to the game. He enjoys playing. He has fun on the court, but he's competitive and he plays hard. And I haven't had a problem with him. Say be more business-like because he works hard. But I found out about him. We were watching another guard, and Coach Sanchez said, "Hey, look at this skinny guy on the other court." I think we was in Chicago at an Adidas event. We kept watching. We're like, "Well, he's pretty thin. I don't know." And he just kept making buckets, and again was real competitive. And you just your eye caught him, and we followed him more and loved him, and thought, boy, he could be really good. And so we got involved, and weren't sure, being a kid from the Midwest Indiana, if we could lure him or get him interested in us, but it worked out. We connected, and I think he really took off. I think once he committed to us and he became a McDonald's All-American. he was highly recruited, but I think we got him committed, and then it just went to another level. So I'm glad we got in early, and I'm glad that Coach Sanchez pointed out the skinny kid on the court to the left of me.
Front row in the center.
Hey, Tony, Gene Wong, Washington Post. How has Mamadi's game developed offensively over the last few years? I think back to last season at Syracuse, he made a bunch of acrobatic jumpers, like falling away, awkward angles. Is that kind of an underappreciated part of his game?
Yeah, I think he's just gotten better and better. And Ty made the comment yesterday. It was a little bit shaky start for everyone, and Mamadi's matured in the sense that he fought through that, and he gave us some play on the offensive rebounding. Some post moves and finishing, and he does have touch, and it's just in increments. It's just gotten better every year, and I think it's just maturity, it's experience. He's, I always say, a little newer to the game than most kids from America, and he's, again, showed great flashes, and that's become more consistent, and he had a really good outing yesterday in a big-time setting.
Second row on the left.
Dean Blevins, News 9 Sports. Coach, Oklahoma had a big day yesterday in paint points, and it seems you stressed that. Can you talk about that matchup?
We stress that on offense or defense, keeping them out of the paint?
Just the paint points, yeah,
sure.
You defensively.
Okay, yeah, they shot, I think it was 62% inside the three-point line from two-point range yesterday, and scoring 95 points, and I think they only took 13 threes. That shows you their efficiency and how they run their actions, and again how their bigs can back you down in their guards and post you up and play, it's going to be a war in that regard. You know, it's kind of going to be bend but don't break, because they have the ability to create their own, and you know that's the test, because they can space it. You know, I don't know if Brady would be their 4 or their 5. I mean, but he can space it. Doolittle can go to work as he's working the post, so they put some pressure on you with that. But we have to be as good as we can at, you know, making them shoot the contested shots. That's our goal every game defensively. That's kind of the pack line mentality. Can you pressure the ball but be jammed up and make people shoot the majority of their shots contested and bothered, not
right
at the rim.
Sorry, Coach. Right
That's
side.
Tony, before the opener, we were talking about, the guys were talking about the TED Talk that you showed them, and earlier Kyle mentioned that you quoted Friday Night Lights, wondering how recent that was. And also when it comes to finding things to motivate them or push their buttons, do you enjoy kind of playing part coach, part psychologist when it comes to that stuff?
Well, I love movies. I love quoting movies, so that's movie lines. Kyle loves to quote Fletch, so there you go. Oh, he already left. He was asking if I thought, did he leave? All right. You wanted to know more about Kyle's kindness. I guess I didn't give him enough the first time. So, but he can quote a lot of Fletch lines. But yeah, no, Friday Night Lights. You know, clear eyes, full heart, can't lose. I mean, everybody knows that, and that's such a good thing. But I think as a coach, you're always trying to find ways to. I don't know if it's sometimes. I can remember quoting a kid from a line from the Karate Kid, and I'm talking to our guys, and they're looking at me sort of blank, and I'm thinking of the original Karate Kid with Ralph Macchio, and they're like, no, they're thinking of the one after that. So sometimes my age shows up, and I can't quite connect. But, yeah, you try to motivate in different ways, use things. That's I think, some of the fun stuff, and seeing how you can connect with the guys. But some things, you know, just click with the guys and respond, and that's part of coaching, teaching, motivating, trying to inspire them, encourage them, challenge them, get after them. It's all mixed in.
Back row on the left.
Tony, you mentioned Kyle mentioned that with you guys going to Battle for Atlantis, you saw Oklahoma then.
Yeah.
Did you have a first impression with them? And to also kind of add on to that, how much do you feel like you guys have grown since that tournament as well?
Yeah, they were huge. You know, the way they were playing, their size. They were one of the bigger teams. And again, they're playing now. It's interesting, you know, at the time they would play, you know, Doolittle, Kristen it is, at the 3 at times. Now they're playing them sometimes, again, 4 or 5, and doesn't mean they can't. But we just remember their size. And we did not end up playing them. We played solid basketball there. We were, you know, had a good tournament and ended up winning that. So, you know, we just saw, I think it was, they played Wisconsin, and I think we would have played the winner of that if I can't remember the Wisconsin-Oklahoma game. So one of our coaches at the Scout said, I haven't seen a team that big, and Wisconsin had a good game against them then. But have we improved since then? I think every team improves in certain ways. So I just think we've become more settled. Different guys have stepped up. Braxton Key has, you know, he's been good for us, and he's established himself more and more. Mamadi at times, Kihei, those guys who are a little more experienced now have really added to our program.
Left side, third row.
Hi, Ben Brenner from the State. With the Friday Night Lights reference, first, what was kind of the message and the point you were trying to get across with that? And could you see the guys kind of get it? And do you have any Friday Night Lights fans on the team?
I don't know if the guys got it or not. So no, it was the quote: "Clear eyes, full heart, can't lose." And it's just if you clearly understand, you know, who you are as a team, your identity, and what you hang your hat on, either as an individual player or as a team, and then you have a full heart in your pursuit of it, you can't lose. You know, I mean, maybe someone will beat you, but you can't lose. So it's pretty simple. And I think I asked, we got any Friday Night Light fans? Or I'm trying to think of. I think most of them knew that quote, so that was the idea. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But I like the movie, so it was good.
Front row, second row on the right.
David Teal with the Daily Press. Tony, you mention often that you tell guys who maybe don't start or get the full complement of minutes, and be patient. Your time is coming. I can't tell you when, but it is. It's easy for you to say. How difficult is it for them to accept that and be patient? And on the flip side, are you pleased with the patience guys like Braxton and Momedy and Jay have shown, because at times, including yesterday, they've been invaluable for you.
Of course, they're a huge part of that team. Every guy is so valuable, and that's the hardest thing. You know, these guys come from high school, and they're the main player, and sometimes delayed gratification is very hard in today's society with all of us, but for young people, it's more of the instant gratification, and those who are willing to usually wait and work, it's rewarding, and it's doing stuff for them beyond, which I think will produce fruit in their lives way past just the season. But that is the challenge. I'm sure, you know, friends, family, like, hey, you should be getting more opportunities, and I think that's also why there's such a transfer. The numbers are so big. But those usually who fight and wait it out, good things happen. So I couldn't be more proud of those guys. And, you know, there's at times they're playing big minutes, and their time's still coming. And, you know, some guys, not everybody can play 30 minutes a game or 35, but I've liked their attitudes, and I've loved at just the right times they've stepped up.
Left side, third row.
Josh Kendall with the State. Was there a tipping point for your recruitment of international players, or is that just gradually grown as the game has grown that way?
Yeah, when I was at Washington State, trying to think who our first, was it Aaron Baines from Australia? You know, I had spent some time in Australia and New Zealand after playing, and then Kirk Penny, a guy that played for my father at Wisconsin and is like a little brother to me, is from New Zealand. When I lived over there, I got to know him. So one of my assistants, Ben Johnson, that was Washington State, played over there. So we had that connection. And then we got a couple guys from Europe. So it's just, when you're at Washington State, Virginia schools, I think sometimes finding those hidden gems, or guys that are academically sound, that are excited to come over. A lot of schools are doing it. Sometimes you can find players that maybe you wouldn't be in such a fight for here, or you would be in a fight. I'm saying if there's a player of that caliber, if you have connections, if you can get to them early, you can sometimes have a better chance to land them. Whereas if they're in the States, they're so exposed, and you know, it's such a recruiting battle. So you just try to find your niches, and that's what we've done. Yeah, it's connections over there. It's probably, you know, more guys are exposed now with the internet and all of that, but it was just trusting people, getting your eyes on them, you know, getting video, all those things, trying to assess the competition that they're playing against, you know, and you don't always get it right, but we've been fortunate where some of those guys have been terrific for us.
Front row on the left.
If you've already been asked this, I'll get it off the transcript, but are there advantages to being scared a little bit, or being challenged the way you were in the first half yesterday?
I already answered that, so you get off the transcript. No, I'm just kidding. I didn't. No. Yeah, I mean, it's you know, that was you know, you felt certainly the way Gardner-Webb played, as I said, was challenging because of how they used their 4s and 5s, the way they were shooting, their quickness, and to get down like that and feel the crowd turn. And you know, we were in that spot last year, and human nature says, this could happen again, but you got to keep fighting. And that was the thing that I don't know if it was good or not, but we just talked about that at halftime. You got to fight. You can't panic, but you got to fight. And I thought, as I said, only the guys that played and were part of that team last year and that were in that locker room this year and understand all that was there will appreciate them responding the way they did in light of that. And like I said, I'm glad that all of us could experience that turnaround in that setting, which, you know, pressure, stress, those things, they put you in stuff. And you see some of the best players and best athletes in the world, you can come unraveled in that. And we have at times, and we fought through some of that stuff and came out on the, you know, the positive end. So I think that was important for sure.
Second row, right side.
Yeah, Coach, Ty and Kyle were talking about former players, how they stay in touch, they mentor, they text. One, what does that give your current guys, hearing from them? And what does it mean to you that the guys who are in the NBA or rehabbing from injuries, things like that, still take the time to be involved in the program?
It's everything. It kind of leads back to the question why you want success for the young men that you coach, because I know the kind of young men they'll become, and I know how they're going to pour back into the program and what they're about. So you just desperately want it when you have a healthy alumni base or former players that are helping your current players, or just come back and they work out with our strength coach and they keep in touch with us. That's some of the most rewarding stuff as a coach, I would say. That's the stuff that's going to last. I see that with my father when guys from the whatever teams he had, his high school players, they'll still go and visit with him. They'll play a round of golf, or they'll just go and sit, and my mom will make them their hot fudge sundaes that she used to make when my dad would recruit them, and they'll sit and tell stories, and they'll send me notes and all that. That's the good stuff. That's the lasting stuff. So you're bonded together through experiences, with most of your guys through life. You really are, and that is so rewarding in this game. There's a lot of things, that can be challenging, but those are the memories, and I think a lot of reason why many of the coaches do it and go through the things that we go through. And so we've got great former players all the way from my first year here up until now. Can't tell you how good they are. You guys know that. You've covered them.
This will be the last question for Coach.
Oh, no, you can pass it to someone else then.
Good. One more, Coach. Here on the right.
Tony, Eric Kalinich from the Richmond Times-Dispatch. The way the offense has changed this year with the sets that you guys are using, have the new offensive sets kind of become the best sets for the offense? Is the new stuff kind of the future of the UVA offense?
Yeah, I think you look at your personnel every year and you make adjustments, and a lot of the stuff was born out of either struggles you've had in years past or, again, personnel that you have and what spots they're in. So you're always challenging yourself as a coach. You have to keep improving. The game changes. You have to try. I mean, there's certain things that are constants, but certainly those are things that I think have helped us. And we worked hard on some of the things that have been key for us this year through the summer, fall, during the year. And like I said, it's a couple things we've brought back from previous teams because we have that kind of personnel that can use it. So it's always evolving. And is it the future of UVA offense? Kind of depends on the personnel, but you're always trying to move that needle.
Thank you.
Yep.